President, so quorum's present, we will do business. Start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have the highway department come up first. Mr. Burke? Hey, good morning. I guess this just popped up. Is it overweight vehicle fine that we put that in, Sandy? Overweight vehicle fine?
The court collects them, and then at the end, at the settlement time, we have to send them to the state.
So if the, like, say, police officer will find that, find somebody for being overweight, they find them, it comes here, we have to send it away.
We hold it, and then at settlement time, it goes to the state.
But that doesn't have anything to do with our.
No,
We're not overweight, as a matter of fact. I just barely missed my PM on this. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I've got a notice that come in from INDOT. It's a multimodal planning letter from INDOT referencing the agreement that we entered in between INDOT Norfolk Southern and the Indiana Utility Consumer Counselor to modernize the at-grade crossing warning system at County Road 600 West. INDOT issued a notice to proceed to Norfolk Southern on May the 6th of this year. It's ordered that Norfolk Southern shall comply with all the terms of the agreement and complete the installation of the warning devices within 24 months of the receipt of this order, which was dated May 24th of this year. So, wrong way.
Just to be clear, this is the one that we've been working on for 2020 months,
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of my term.
Hey, but in 24 months.
Yep.
Hey, that's better than nothing, right?
We made it.
We're moving forward.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
That's a good update.
Sanitation site lease renewal. The lease is due to expire at the Huntingburg site. We did send a lease renewal to the owner, David Licklider, who has signed the lease. We've got two copies here that need signatures. One will be ours. And go ahead.
As long as the terms are the same as they currently are, I think we're getting a fine deal there. What do you have any thoughts on it?
It was good last time, it'd be good again this time.
Yeah.
How many think you can rent $550 a year?
How many? I think they're all pretty close to the same. And that's a good location out there. Okay, surface treatment preservation work.
We didn't actually go close.
You got a public, no, we should
Okay,
do.
so I'll move that we approve the agreement, the lease with Licklider for this site. As presented.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Preservation work started in the county on our county roads. Staff from Rejuve Tech started on us last week. They've done 900 South and County Road 900 South and 200 West to the airport. Those have been completed. Friday they were up in Harbison Township and they did 400 East and 725 North. I think their plan today is to come in and do County Road 500 North from Portersville Road to 550 West. Then we're also looking at Sheeter Road from the Jasper city limits to 350 West, and then 350 West from State Road 56 to 300 North. Expect that those should be done by the end of the week, so we'll be complete with that. So the process of this here, it supplies chemicals to the asphalt which are lost with age and penetration from the sun. The result is the surface becomes less brittle with this sort of treatment, reducing the aging and cracking process, which helps make the pavements last longer. So gives you a little idea of what this is and does. Next item, J.H. Rudolph escalation clause. This is the first one that we've received from them. There you can see what the 2022 bid prices were. They've gone up 18% on base, 19% and 20% on surface. So these are materials that we would also pick up from them as well. And next thing. Our chip seal work started last week as well. And laid out a calendar for all of you to let you know about where we're at in case you have people calling you and, hey, when's this road can be done? That gives us a good idea. I'll give you updates every meeting as we go, you know, because there could be rain, could be breakdowns, things that kind of change the schedule just a little bit. So we're on Du Bois Northeast today. We had a problem. We had to switch from one to the other. So
Already.
yeah, everything that's scratched off is done. Will be Du Bois Road Northeast today, and Crystal Road tomorrow, or the day after. So we're kind of running a little ahead.
Yeah. So we got it on this one and ahead on everything else.
So we've already done Portersville Road West between 550 West and 700 West. We're planning on brooming that off today, and we'll shoot the fog seal on that tomorrow, so it'll be black. And then maybe within a couple of weeks, we'll be back on it with center line stripe, and it'll be done. So.
What's the cure time on that? I mean, what's it take once it's applied that people are driving on it?
Probably about an hour and a half or so, depending on, you know, the weather conditions. I think we've got a couple places in there where we've got tree cover, canopy over the road. So those areas will take a little bit longer, but it's usually an hour to 2 hours.
Do we close both sides or we do one side and let people through, and how do you usually handle that?
We'll close one side, we'll shoot one lane, and depending on how much of a run he's got, we'll have a pace truck run from one side or the other, unless it's a low volume road. We'll just close the whole thing and do the whole thing. But if we do something like that, the landowners know about it.
Sounds good.
You got it? And I believe that's all I've got.
You had Jasper come for the bid.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'll steal your thunder.
Yeah, I covered it. Yeah. you see the list of stuff that we are working on. And the last thing to come up is the Jasper dumpster site. Plan for paving the site will take place on Wednesday, July the 27th. This will be used for site prep and AEP application so we can get everything ready to go. I'd like to request that the Jasper site be closed all day on Thursday, July the 28th for site paving. That would be weather pending. The site will reopen to its normal business on Friday the 29th. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I don't know if it's too late to just, or too early to put this out here in case something happens between now and then, but that's my plan. So it's going to take us 2 days to get the work done, and Wednesday they're all closed anyway. So we can get our site prep and the prime and everything done. Then we'll do the paving the next day, take all of the boxes out of there so they're out of our way, and then we'll have the boxes back for the Friday morning run. So
you're doing a horseshoe pretty much, doing it in and out. And
So the boxes will still set on gravel, but the driving surface will be paved.
Yeah, we'll probably, that's why we want to take the boxes out. We want to get as close as we can. So when we set the boxes down, they're right at the edge of the pavement, and then, we're up out of the mess, so.
it sounds like a fine plan to me. I think we should prove it, and then if something changes between now and then, we can
Just up
change the date.
Okay.
So I'll move that we approve closing the Jasper site on Thursday, July 28th for site paving.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Yep, I think the people that use that site are gonna be grateful. I know
Yeah.
it gets messy out there when you're doing it right.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do these, one or maybe a couple of them a year as we generate revenue right now. We're still waiting for our trash truck to come in, and some of our money's going to pay for a portion of that. I think QCAP and the council helped us out with half of the purchase, and we're taking care of the other half with our sticker money, so.
We making change yet?
Not yet.
We ready to get back to that? Or we still have people that don't wanna do it?
Getting real close again. I heard, I think there were some counts, I believe in Lawrence County, where their COVID numbers had been going up a little bit again. At some point, we're gonna need to go to that, and sell the stickers again, but, we'll have a meeting or so and go over that.
It's just good for keeping honest people honest. I don't think we have any problems with anybody
Yeah.
that I've been aware of. I think we got good people working. It's nice to have a way to check what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think that would be the responsible thing to do, is to get back to that. So, we'll be keeping an eye on that, make sure the numbers are low, and then we'll have a meeting with the staff and see what, concerns they may have, and maybe there's some additional steps to the selling of stickers that we have to take.
Is it still possible for people to stay behind glass and just do it under, does every site set up that way, or they can exchange funds without having to share air?
We've got a sliding window. I think what a few of them had done before we had gone to the bucket was to just open the window partially, and deal with it that way. So,
Just keep them in hand sanitizer and keep them separated, and see if there's people that are working, that'll work out.
yeah, but we'll come up with an organizational plan, and we'll have a meeting with the staff and hear the concerns that they may have. But I know every one of them's been vaccinated and had the boosters, so should be okay.
Sounds good.
But we'll move on now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, countywide bridge inspection, receive an invoice from Structure Point in the amount of $5,931.11. I have reviewed the invoice and I recommend it for approval. All the field work has been done. And then they did some fracture critical inspections and some routine office work, but that's where this invoice came from. So nothing too major. If I do your approval before I pay.
No issue here. Commissioner? No. I'll move that we approve the payment in the amount of $5,931.11 for emergency structure point bridge inspection.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, we'll open bids at 9 o'clock. I will, with the way the prices are going, I do want to sit down and review all these things before I recommend for approval. I mean, it's community crossing money, so we're going to have to approve them, but I want to make sure everything's in line before we do. So more than likely, I will not approve them at this meeting unless something just shoots out of me. So just so you guys know, we'll probably table them until the next meeting. Okay, the next thing is, if I can find that piece of paper, is payment for community crossings. The last one we got done. So CNR construction got done. They have submitted a previous invoice. We didn't have to worry about a change order for that because their numbers were right. It was what they had done. So now we have it's been their final invoice, and we got change orders there. The project bid at $597,509.60. The final invoice was at $585,215.65. They did a stand-up job for the financial situation that they got put in. So I'm really impressed and kind of commend them for that. I do have 3 different change orders, 2 of each that I need signatures on. It doesn't have to be blue ink, it just needs to be signed. It goes through in the differentials. There's a breakdown of them right here. If you want to see them on one sheet of paper, instead of having to go through each one.
Sure.
I need that back. So no worries. But there's a breakdown of how everything went out. Like I said, the jobs went smooth. They really did. They did a great job.
Am I reading this right? They all went down.
Yeah, they didn't put as much down as with some like one job they put more down, but the other
Just
overall. So while you're reviewing those, I'll just go through the other stuff. In-house paving with Calcar and Rudolph. I haven't got a schedule yet. I know I had talked to both of them and they're working on their schedules. So when I know more, you guys know more. So make sure we make a motion on those change orders too, whenever you guys are ready. So.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 3 change orders.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. I think it's 2 on each.
There's 2 on each one.
Then I'll take them back and give them to Sam.
All right, the last thing on my list is I've got supplies I'm ordering for a bridge crew for random construction projects that we want to get done. So I sent out requests for quotes for bridge beams, for deck pans, and for rebar. I sent out at least 3 for each thing. On beams, I sent 5. But I received 3 for rebar, 3 for beams, and only received 2 quotes back for deck pans. I gave you a breakdown. I really don't list them all out of what everybody's prices were. I can. I have all the suppliers. We'll get a breakdown. We'll get this sheet sent off. But for the beams, there's 3 sets of beams that are in this order for bridge 168, bridge 200, and bridge 230. I recommend awarding to Sugar Steel an amount of $50,736.75 for the deck pans and support angles that go between the beams for the same three bridges, 168, 200, and 230. I recommend to E3 Bridge in the amount of $56,417. And then rebar, more for our stockpile, so it's not assigned to a certain bridge, it's for our box culverts and our bridges. There'll be number 8s and number 4s in there. To modern welding in the amount of $44,749. Like I said, I've submitted at least three vendors and got responses for all of them except for the deck fans. I only got 2. LB Foster, our normal supplier for our deck fans, didn't even respond. I actually sent them multiple emails and never got anything back. So I don't know what happened there. But the fact that the prices with Silicon and them were so close, I'd say the prices are pretty good.
Because of the dollar value, this is an acceptable process. What is the threshold again?
125 I have to advertise.
If it's what?
125 I have to advertise. But if it's 50 or between 50 and 125, I have to send at least 3 requests for quotes. Like I said, I submitted 5 for the beams and the rebar, and I submitted 3 for the deck fans.
You have any issues, questions on these? No? Okay. I move that we take the recommendations of the engineer with taking the bid or the quotes for the rebar from Modern Welding, the bridge beams from Sugar Steel Corporation, and E3 Bridge for the deck pans as have been presented.
So,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. And that is all
That's what all these years
that I have. Yes, I need those back. Thank you.
You're welcome. And as far as the in-house paving, that goes down the Vermont schedule, is there any? Is that
It's not a big deal. They have God's plenty of time. They really do. They have until August. So I'm gonna probably corner them here in the next week or two to say, okay, where you at now, and go. But I'm not concerned yet.
I didn't know if it was something where they generally were scheduled by this time.
No, not usually. Usually I get about a 3-week notice. Hey, we're gonna be here. So I'm not too nervous about it yet. I think that's all I have. I know you had asked me about the Safe Streets for All program. I'm looking into that. We'll need to get somebody on board to help us out with that. It's recommended. And then there's just homework to be done. It's ongoing. I'm working on it with LTAP right now to get something started. So we're doing that.
Great. That's when we start with the plan, and then we.
We gotta have a plan first. Yep.
Got it. I thought so.
Once we have the plan, then we're golden, but we gotta have that plan first. That's our first step.
Similar to our bike path thing, he's working on something where we have to have a plan first, and you can start asking for grants and things.
Yeah.
Make our streets safe.
You guys have anything for me?
I do not. Okay, it's about 8:30. We'll have the program update. Good morning.
Hello, how are you guys?
Fine, thanks.
Have a nice weekend. Yeah, I can make it. Okay, so nothing big and heavy today. Just wanted to come and give you guys an update of what we've been up to from March to kind of what we got planned a little bit in June here. We'll start with what Lauren has been up to in youth development. I would say her biggest success just happened a few weeks ago with Food and Ag Day. If you've heard any buzz about that, she had 618 fourth graders come through. So that was a lot of kids. It's our first one since COVID, so we were a little leery about how it was going to go. It was really hard to find volunteers. You might know volunteerism is down since COVID, so that was a bit of a struggle. We weren't sure what was going to happen with it, but we rallied, and everybody rallied around us. We had a huge supporting, and the schools really enjoyed it. We heard a lot of really great feedback from the teachers that they're glad that this is back, and the kids were, of course, excited because there were animals there, and they got to learn all about ag.
Where did that take place?
The fairgrounds.
Okay.
The fairgrounds, yes. So it's a kind of a rotational system. She sets up all these different educational booths you can see there, and then the volunteers have, I think it was 11 minutes exactly, 11 minutes to educate on whatever their topic is. So then they rotate through all of these groups. Kenny has been up to a lot there. He kind of gave a brief synopsis under his portion there, but the two that I wanted to highlight is the Du Bois County High School Tour of Opportunity. I think that's a really cool thing that they started doing with the Patoka Valley Cooperative. So they took high school students and actually allowed them to tour through businesses to see what it's actually like to work there, what it's like to be, and he was specifically for the ag portion, but there were all sorts of portions to this. So I thought that was a neat thing that he got to be involved in. And then number 5, although avian influenza seems to be gone from the county, all of our restrictions and zones of potential contact have been lifted. Kenny still remains kind of the go-to person for that, even though he's not a poultry expert. He's just that good. I guess everybody really respects him, and so he's been working with IGOA and mentoring all of these other counties that are still struggling with it. So I wanted to give him kudos for that because I think that's really cool. There's a backside. We had too much for one time. In Health and Human Sciences, would say that number 4 is what I am most proud of. I have been working very diligently to bring nutrition throughout the schools. All the school systems are different, and there's no comprehensive nutrition plan for the entire county. Some 8th graders get nutrition. Some 8th graders don't take nutrition classes. Some of them have like a home ec style class or FACS class. Some of them don't. And so I've been trying to work with specifically Southridge here to kind of cover those gaps. So that was a lot of fun. We learned a lot, and I'm definitely gathering data and information of how can we take this countywide and make sure that everybody's getting taught a little bit about how to eat correctly.
How do you measure success?
Yeah, you can't. So this would be, it would be a qualitative data kind of thing. Like I'm not going to have quantitative numbers of this many kids made lifestyle changes at this point in time. It's something that we have to start young and monitor through multiple years in order to get that data. This right now is just qualitative of, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I learned something. That was really cool. Specifically what I did with the 8th grade students at Southridge Middle School is we did a 4-part cooking class. And you could certainly tell the demographic differences within the students. And that to me was very empowering, and that the skills that I taught some of these kids were skills that they could go home and feed themselves or their siblings. And they appreciated learning how to cook in a microwave, right? Because that's something they can do. They appreciated being able to cook a dump chili, which is just a bunch of canned stuff. When you dump it in, you spice it up, and it's weirdly delicious. So they appreciated kind of those simple things. tell they didn't have somebody that supported them at home.
Mhm.
So that was impactful in my world.
For those couple hours, maybe all they ever learn about it.
Yes, yeah, so they really seem to appreciate those few essays that we were able to do. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about quickly was under the professional development. All three educators got the opportunity to take part in a program called Navigating Differences in April. It was a 3-day training, all day, very intensive, about cultural competency. So it really broke down your personal barriers as well as teaching about kind of this continuum of cultural competency, because it's not something you just wake up and have. You have to go through a continuum of education and awareness and then acceptance. You know, it's very much like the grief cycle where there's stages and you kind of move through it and then you go back, you catch yourself in a previous state. So that was interesting information that we're looking to bring to the county.
So that educates you, and then they have a program that you educate youth or the public in general, or what does that professional development do? Where does it go? What's the next step?
Sure. So it helps us to be more competent in our program writing so that we are making sure that we are actually programming to the whole entire community, every single culture, subculture. So a lot of times we classify culture based upon race. You know, we think white or Hispanic, but there's so many subcultures, right? So, you know, I live in a subculture of nutrition. I live in a subculture of yoga and a subculture of being a mom to 4 crazy kids. But that's not your subculture, right? And it's not a big subculture. So there's a lot of different subcultures and things that we have to take into account as well whenever we're programming, and being very mindful that we are like intentional about what sort of subculture we want to target and trying to reach new audiences that way. As a larger professional development, now that we've been trained in this, we are able to bring in the trainers for community events. So we are looking at doing potentially something at our annual meeting in regards to this, because we all really enjoyed it.
No, I think that's neat. That's important.
Yeah.
The subculture idea that, because I remember going through elementary school, grade school, for example, that's one subculture, right? Your group, your peer group or whatever, and those same 5 kids get selected for things. The same 5 kids get to be on play, they're the sports kids, and when we do things with substance abuse, or we do things with a number of things, we do programming,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we're always hitting the whole audience.
Right.
We're only hitting part of the audience. So whenever you do things like this to try to make sure everybody's getting included, I think it's important.
Right.
Instead of preaching to the people that already got it.
And there's a whole, it looks like a bullseye of how this works out. So you go from like your physical attributes to your geographic attributes, and then it's like the socioeconomic attributes, and then it goes into professional attributes even. So it really was a kind of a starburst effect if you think about a person starting at the middle and then how we go from there and make our way through. So it was a very neat training.
That's good.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, I wanted to ask how the In Plain Sight went this year. I don't know that I remember. I think I saw that on here someplace.
Oh, yes. So that's on the back. That's number 1 for me. We were able to do a session in all 5 school systems, and then we held a community forum where we facilitated on behalf of CARES.
When you say you did it in all the school systems, you didn't do this for the children.
No.
You didn't go
This
in
is
and
an
do a
adult
forum.
program.
Right, exactly. That's one of those, again, that I think is important, but who shows up? It's the same parents that are already involved and care. That was my experience when I went. Do you have any comments on that?
So I wish that we had had, so the guidance counselors had great buy-in. They thought it was a great program. A few of them even attended themselves, but we didn't necessarily see prescription of this program from the guidance counselors to the parents that probably needed to attend.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had had a little bit more of that, and maybe even some buy-in from the schools as far as Key Club or whatever will do babysitting or something like that. We didn't necessarily get that. It very much was, you can use our room. And,
Sure.
you know, we'll send it out through our Parent Connect and we'll help you sort of advertise, but there wasn't that joint programming necessarily that I'd like to see in the future. But again, lessons learned.
It's one of those programs that, I don't know how you get it in every household.
It needs to be, but how do you do that? And also don't tell
I
the
mean, I think
kids.
I'm pretty savvy with some things, and I go there and, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Substance Abuse Council used to do that too, where every week or every month that they would have a meeting, they'd be like, you see this, and then you see this, they hold up like a Bang Energy, and they hold it next to a Four Loko, and it's out, they hold up.
Yeah.
And they look the same,
Very
one's
similar.
a soda, and the other one's an alcoholic beverage. And it's some of the same stuff with this hidden in plain sight stuff.
Yeah.
It's important for parents to know, but parents are busy and parents are
Mhm.
whatever. I just don't know how we, like what I mentioned earlier, how do we measure success? How do you get this into the people's hands that really need it?
Right.
So
I would say 100% of the participants said that they learned something that they thought was valuable or that they wish they had known sooner. Because I think that's another thing we need to sort of think about. A lot of the demographic are high school parents, and we need to start targeting 5th, 6th grade parents because we know that they start experimenting in 6th grade. We have that data, they've told us that. So we need to move the program a little bit earlier, I think,
Sure.
in my opinion. Yeah. It's not going away. It's going to take a little break, but then we'll bring it back into the schools again, just so that it's fresh again.
And what's the program of the financial literacy for the children?
That is called Captain Cash.
Captain Cash?
Captain Cash.
What age group?
Yes, that's 3rd grade. I get to wear a captain's hat, speak in nautical terms, and it's really fun. They
That
all
makes
buy
it worth
into
it.
it. Oh yeah, I've got a
Do you have any
treasure map.
photos? Like,
You
get into
know,
the public record, please.
yeah, I don't really think any photos were taken. I should have. But yeah, we go through kind of the 4 big principles of finances, and they talk about just how do you earn money. First of all, you know that you have to have a job, and the more education you have, the more earning potential you have because you have different avenues that you can explore as far as careers. We talk about saving. So every payday, save some cash away. That's our saying. And then we talk about spending, that there's a limit to what you can spend. You know, it's we don't use the word budget, but it is budget talk of eventually your money will run out. You can't just spend it all. And then the last one's about borrowing and kind of the difference between good borrowing for house, education, those sorts of things, and frivolous borrowing for credit card debt.
Mhm.
And talk about interest.
I always think that the programs, I know you can't make yourself a teacher and go in and be in the school every day, but those are the ones where you get the whole audience.
Uh-huh.
A couple of those kids are gonna know everything you're teaching them, the other ones have never heard the first thing about it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what my son was earlier, he's like, can we buy whatever it is? I don't have any money for that, we'll get it out of the machine.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't understand that it's not an unlimited amount, so I think reinforcing these important things, it's good for kids.
So this is my first time actually teaching this program, and I taught it at Jasper Elementary School, but it is a goal to eventually grow it across the county to see every 3rd grade student. So that is a goal here in the next few years as we work our way out. I had to start small, so I started with 140 kids, not like Holland Elementary where it'd be like 20 kids.
Yeah. Is a checkbook still part of the literacy program? The
You
financial
know, it
literacy?
is not.
It's not.
We don't get that deep into it. But I do show them a paycheck, like an actual paper paycheck.
Okay.
And so that's a bit different for most of them. I think it just magically happens.
Things are digital,
Yeah.
they're just there. I don't think I have anything else. Thank you for the update, for
Yes.
entertaining my questions.
Absolutely. Thank
Commissioner
you.
Ossett, or anything else?
Okay, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I was going to tell you outside. Yeah, blank. Our candidate search, we
Yes.
did get another group of applications, so we're going to talk about those this morning and hopefully have some interviews again.
So long story short, they had somebody they offered the job to, they thought they were gonna have, it didn't work out. The other one was a pay issue, I think.
Yep.
So, or maybe was it both pay?
They were both pay issues
So,
twice.
the one person I think, I don't think I'm stepping out of line here, the one person said, that's okay, I'm willing to take a pay cut for some of the other good things about the job, and then I think they changed their mind.
It was a little too much of a cut. Yeah. So, but thank you. Hopefully I'll have some good news on that front soon.
Appreciate it. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. I know I always ask you these questions, you can't possibly hold them, but actually, you know why we would have given Jefferson County Community Corrections a job? Do you mind? So you're trying to stay, so you're trying to make it.
I just need.
All right, we have a little bit of housekeeping here. Let's, we have meeting minutes from the May 16th meeting. Do you have any changes or questions about that?
Nope.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And then is this one that you just had to sign for me?
That's the last.
Next up, we have payroll from the last period. I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
It's for training, right? It's for training.
So we went down there and we had to pay them for it.
We're gonna void it to Jefferson, and we're gonna put it to the doctor who did the training.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Then we have our claims against the county in the voucher register. Quite a bit here, but I'm satisfied with it after reviewing it. Any questions on that, changes? I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So we did approve all of this. EMA District Planning Council appointment. And cybersecurity pilot,
You want,
Tammy Hummer.
you want cybersecurity on the agenda, so we just stuck it together.
Sounds good.
So I need to ask that the commissioners appoint a new representative to the district planning council. We meet quarterly. It is 12 counties in District 10. Pat Todd was the county representative prior to my request today, but he has since left Memorial Hospital and is no longer on that committee. So with that being said, I need to replace that representative. Kenny Hoaxing is the City of Jasper's representative, then I represent as EMA, and I would like to have Narissa Zink, my deputy director, appointed to be the county representative. She's the only one that really showed any interest, and it's probably because I'm her boss, so.
Is that how it went?
Yeah, that's kind of how it
And she said, absolutely, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to go to those meetings with you. So-
All right, tell us what the district planning council does.
Okay, so there are 12 counties in our District 10. And as you know, we've gotten quite a few resources from them, our tent trailer, our generator, things to that degree. And we meet quarterly now just to sit down and discuss how we can exercise as an entire district, not just, DuBois County, we do a lot in DuBois County, but this is the whole district. So we pull together with all the representatives from District 10 and plan exercises. We do resource maintenance tests, just things to that degree, and just kind of work out. There's really no money with the district anymore, but we still continue to meet. We're one of the few in the state of Indiana that has kept up a very strong relationship, and we just work together for the event of what happens if and when. So that's basically what the district planning committee is.
Because I'm ignorant of what kind of catastrophe could this be that would,
Well, typically, I can just go back to avian flu. That's my favorite thing to talk about anyway, so. But District 10 pulled together really, they saved us in Du Bois County, honestly, because I couldn't do it all. As just the only one handling in his incident command. So they came in and helped. Instead of me working 24-hour shifts, I was working 12 then. And then there would be somebody come in and they would handle the planning phases of it and just try to help the entire operations center to give us all a little bit of a reprieve. So we just plan for the worst and hope it doesn't happen. We're working on possibly doing some, well, there's an eclipse coming soon, right? So that's in 2024. So we're already planning now as a district because it's pretty much going to hit the entire District 10. And this is not that it's a bad event, right? There's so much, there's going to be so many people coming into the communities. And so how do we handle that? How are we going to monitor the traffic, and how are we going to keep people, you never know what happens when you bring that many people in. It's not necessarily going to be in Du Bois County, though. We're looking more towards Vanderburgh County. So we're working as District 10 to try to help whatever Cliff would need down in Vanderburgh County to assist. So we just help each other out, basically. So it's a great working relationship that we have with District 10. All 12 of the EMA directors are very, very close. And then we bring in the fire and law onto this district planning council, and it really is just a good group.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
You any comments?
And I don't have to have an official letter because we no longer have a district planning council, but I just need to have it gets put in the minutes that Narissa has been appointed.
I'll move that we appoint Narissa to the EMA District Planning Council.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? You sure we don't want to look for other people?
I mean,
She might be
Anybody in
upset.
attendance that would like to
Any from the community.
Yes.
Come on.
Steve? No, all right.
Oh,
That being
Steve.
said, not seeing anybody else.
I'll happily take it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
One more thing for
And
your
that's your
resume.
resume.
That's right. And then Sandy had mentioned that you wanted to talk about the cybersecurity and where we're standing on that. Right now, we're just kind of at a standstill waiting. June 15th, we have our department head meeting, and Shatrice is coming up, and she will plan to meet with department heads, hopefully that day and the following day. And I think Sandy sent out a couple different emails to the department heads just to kind of let them know that this is happening. And
You confirm you're on that one?
I think that's fine.
Right, I think,
It kind of appointed you.
well, I think it was your turn to
This
this.
is my turn.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were gonna be there. So the main point of business is going to be to introduce this person.
Yeah,
They're gonna
Shatrice.
say, hey, we're gonna be around to check it out.
Yeah, her main goal is she really wants to just meet with the different department heads, and the reason is not that she's expecting the department heads to have a plan. She wants to know what their worries are and what their concerns are with possible cybersecurity and things to that degree. So that's how she's starting the planning to do that. And then we'll be working with Matrix starting the 20th, I believe, of this month. We're going to have our first initial call on the other part of that with cybersecurity risk assessments and things to that degree to start working on our county plan. So that's about all I
She's
have.
gonna hang around that day just to kind of meet with different departments, so.
And that next day as well, she's hoping, so. I don't even think she'll end up being an hour with each one of them. I mean, she thinks it might be an hour, but I don't think it'll take that long for each department head. We've had a few that are gonna be gone that we're having them reach directly out to Shatrice as well, so. We don't wanna leave anybody out.
Just recently, that's maybe somewhat connected to the cybersecurity situation, is I reached out to the Indiana Office of Technology, and it has also to do with our website. We're at a point where we're supposed to be renewing a contract with them if we decide to. The state offers a bunch of services as well, email, website, security, training. So I'm looking into those things as well, so between this person and them, we hopefully can beef up the security that we have and the training that our employees get.
Right, and one thing I want to say is, Sandy and I found out pretty quick that DuBois County, we're already pretty good at what we do, and this is only going to give us more reassurance. We're already on a survey, very high percentage on what we're doing, so we can be proud of what we're doing now, and this is only going to help add to that. So being a part of this trial is really a benefit for us.
And the thing that keeps popping into my head that I've read about cyber stuff, and when people steal and lock down your information, the argument is always, why would anybody want my information? Well, they don't want your information. You want your information. So they know that people will sometimes pay and do a lot of things to get their own information. It's not that they want it.
That's right. They don't. They just want you to pay them money.
Back. Yeah. So it's important, even though a lot of the information that we have, almost all of the information we have is public, and we would share it with anybody that wanted to come see it. We don't want them putting the brakes on
Right.
stuff and stopping what we're doing. So that's a big thing to keep an eye on.
Right.
It'd be very expensive to redo everything.
Yeah, Lawrence County went through a mess, so we don't want to follow in suit of that. So.
Yeah, I think we should just keep heading forward. I think
That's right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
We have a few minutes until paving projects are gonna have bid openings.
Yes, I've got that one in others coming in here, so. Okay, thanks. Bye.
We may have a letter.
Is this something that explains to us, or should I grab it?
Judges submitted that, and they wanted you to have copies
Oh,
of what
good.
they submitted. They gave one to the council and one to you. So if you look at there, the other one's there.
Okay, they received their last
Council
meeting.
got it at the last meeting, and you guys.
Well, I'll mention it. So that we kind of figure out what happened.
Good deal.
I don't know if that's if we're gonna put it safe. No, well, usually it's not like that. No. We can get more. Yeah. Oh, we'll get more over.
Yeah, they show like,
Really? But still out, just out there. Yeah.
Just gonna throw it out.
Nope.
Maybe.
Amen.
I'll just throw it all in this,
His folder?
this folder when
Okay. Stab at it.
So he sounds like he could do something like that. Oh, that's only one whole.
9:15, they added something
SEC,
on
one
the
thing,
email.
SEC is a whole.
They called it until 4:05.
So we're like 15 minutes. Better, right?
He didn't.
I tried to use it.
Okay.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at all.
So what's that?
I'm just going Fridays.
Is that what it is? What goals? We see a lot of people faces. We get a lot of number ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, we see a lot of different. It's real 15. What's her title? Actually, director? That's for Lisa last year. And what is it called? Read 15.
The 15 Regional Planning Commission.
So that tells you how big it is. Or football. Okay, for this team this year. But how's it going out now? Football, you're practically pro.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. We will do the bid openings for paving projects. I think we've called over to the courthouse. There's no additional bids over there, and the other ones are in hand with the county attorney, Mr. Schneider.
Okay, first bid we're opening is from Calcar Paving. Bid in the amount of $770,240.25. 770240.25. Second bid is from E&B Paving. That bid is in the amount of $738,140 even, 738,140.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we'll work on package.
Third bid from J.H. Rudolph. The bid is in the amount of $737,300.25. 737,300.25.
Right, we nothing with that.
Numbers, they're hard. We're just working our way through them. Final bid is from C&R Construction. Bid
bids in the amount of $777,197.10. 777197.10. That is all the more bids.
The attorney will ensure that the bids are in order. The county engineer will review, make sure they're complete and accurate. We will probably award at the next meeting, is that correct?
Correct.
And if anyone in attendance wants to look at the bids, is that something you're doing as
I
well?
can have them downstairs if they want. I will send out bid tabs tomorrow, so everybody has what the prices were, and you can go from there. But if you want to see them, I can show them to you now.
If you'd like to see them, come on up. If not, we'll do it, send up tomorrow. So thank you, everybody, for making your bids. And we have 15 minutes, 10 minutes, I guess, to do miscellaneous items. Mr. Schneider, do you want to go over your solar ordinance that we discussed?
So I'd sent a draft of a proposed ordinance. I know we've been discussing this for a few meetings now. State law goes into effect July 1st. I reached out to attorney for the Indiana County Commissioners. He had some revised changes or suggestions to make. And we talked through a few other elements of it. One thing that I'd like for some discussion, I guess, or input from you guys on, is we're setting forth these standards, and then, how are we going to handle reviewing that they're being complied with, compliance with our ordinance, and then in the event that there's not compliance, any type of sanctions or penalties. If you guys can give some thought to that discussion today, or discussion, in the weeks ahead here before that July enactment date. Would be appreciated. The ordinance I drafted currently doesn't have anything to that effect, but I think it's worth at least some consideration. If we require a 30-yard setback and somebody does a 25-yard setback, do we fine them? Do we go out and seek an injunction against them to stop until they can rectify it? And who's going to do that?
So Mr. Schneider and I discussed it on Friday somewhat, and it'll probably be like a junk ordinance or weed ordinance or anything like that, that we probably aren't going to be going out and measuring distances and things, but if there would be a complaint from a neighbor, those would be.
It'd be more of a reactive enforcement instead of a proactive enforcement.
So if it was happening next to your home, that's going to be a big deal, and you would probably
Let us know about it.
Yeah, hopefully you'd let us know about it, but do we want to have because there's a difference. I suppose we can implement the ordinance without any penalties.
Correct.
We could get it put into place so then that the rules will then go into effect when the state's rule goes into effect. And then at a later time, even the next month, we could say, we would like there to be a penalty of $250 for each infraction or something else.
Right. We can always amend the ordinances the same as we have before. Again, if there's a penalty, there's advertisement requirements, things of that nature. So that discussion can continue on. I don't know. I know we've talked about maybe one potential project. I don't know if there's a half dozen coming down the pipeline right now. So still some time. So that was an update on that.
I still think it's a good idea to go forward with the ordinance. Haven't heard anything to tell me it's better to have it than to not have it, I suppose. Right now,
So I'll revise the draft I had sent before with the changes I discussed with some folks from Barnes, and get it into your hands before the next meeting as well.
Steve and Brent, on a road use agreement, if we had a company come in and say they want to do a road or a solar project, and they need right of way from us, or they want road use or a cut into the road, something for their project. If they don't comply with something we want, can those are they written in such a way that they're rescindable? So I'm trying to think of where we have any strings to pull in case somebody's a bad actor. And I'm thinking, one, if they ask for an abatement, we can, the next time they go to do an update on that, we can say they're substantially not in compliance and pull that, or we could say something with the road user right away.
On road use agreements, usually if they damage the road, they're responsible to repair it. There is language in there that they should share the roadway, you know, if there's large roads or anything like that, but we haven't really run into anything where that's been an issue, but we have had several instances where the company that we had the agreement with did have to repair a road because of damage, and they've always done it, so.
But I think as far as the right of way, I think when I discussed it with you, Brent, it was, unless we have a strong reason for the county not to give it, if it's a public utility or something for a public good, we should be giving allowance for that and working with people.
Yeah, public right of way, I mean, unless this is detrimental to the traveling public or to other utilities that are already there. It's a public right of way.
Like most rules, we hope everybody always behaves well and we don't have any problems, but we have to think of worst case scenarios. If somebody built on the property line and they weren't supposed to, things we've talked about, there's potential issues.
Usually on a large scale contract, we will have a tendency to meet with them, so we can drive the project. If there's structures that are gonna be above ground, so we can look and see where they're at, and make sure that they're not gonna be a problem to our maintenance work, and there won't be anything in the waterways or ditches to back up any water, so we can do that in pre-construction.
So like with some of that, if you're going to do ditch repair or mowing and things like that, I'm sure there's standards where they have to be at such a depth, and if they're not, well, they could be damaged by our work. I'm just trying to think if there's any other issues that we need to consider with this. But at this point, I guess I would just ask you to review the proposed ordinance that he has, and if there's any other, is there anything else you think we need to talk about?
Not on that topic, I had another topic, if you're ready to move on.
Yes, sir.
Sandy chair, but we had gotten our update from AM Legal, or sorry, our request to update our code. As you recall, we did codify that, it is online, and they sent out a reminder that we wanted to provide them what we've done since that got codified. I've sent them all of that information. They were getting ready to put it together. They asked, just go ahead and do it or get a quote. I asked for a quote. I couldn't recall from our contract what that was going to be. And so when I get that back, I'll present that to the board. Hopefully I get it before the next meeting, and then keep that on an annual basis being updated.
Hopefully it's not cost prohibitive, and
I would hope not.
because it's not like we're doing,
Send them everything in Word. And, there are just a few of them, so I think that
you have anything from Mr. Chairman?
do not.
Anything from the county auditor?
I just wanted to let you know that he can, whoever, if they need to use his office, he's willing to share it or let somebody use it. He noticed Stephanie up here was that in translator may need some space sometimes, so he's offered her if she ever needs to come down and have privacy for an office. So he wanted to let you guys know that if you're okay with that, he's.
Yep, I think it's great. We share space when we can. And do you have any feedback that you know of with how that's going? Stephanie's the translator position.
Can't really give an update on that. Mark, you would be able to do that way better than me.
Okay. You notice the work they're doing around the monument?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they spent, I guess it was Friday, and they pulled it all out. They found some old limestone underneath. That was the base, right? They're replacing that.
Yeah, they have the footer board now. They're probably letting that cure. They should hopefully be back here the next day or two. Thought they would start with the wall today, but I don't know. That's their job. You know, they got the time to do it, so. We're still behind.
They had a bunch of staff. I mean, they had a bunch of guys there working on it. It was moving rapidly and doing a good job. I think we got some tape up to keep people from falling in it.
Right,
Looks like it's heading in the right direction.
exactly.
So is there anything with that? I mean, we're on track that we're not interfering with anything with the downtown project.
No,
This
no.
is going to be,
They
it should be done when it should.
Yes, the fact that Rago is doing the water lines, relocation of all the water lines and everything, that keeps, lets Jaminski do their own work and stay out of their way. And by the time they get to where they're gonna close this quadrant down, they'll be going out of the way, so.
Looks like it's proceeding as it should. All right, let's go ahead with the next agenda item. We have a Buck Shoals right-of-way removal for event tags here with Cash Wagner. Morning.
Morning, thanks for getting me in.
You're welcome.
I have a exhibit to remove some right-of-ways in the Buck Shoals subdivision. So there was approximately 900 linear feet of right-of-way dedicated in the Buck Shoals subdivision. However, it is maintained by the county, always was. I believe the county's intent, talking with Mr. Schnarr, Mr. Winall, is that they would like to take it back, remove it from the subdivision.
So what happened is, it was originally dedicated, that 900 feet was included in there, and I didn't catch that 900 feet being in the dedicated subdivision, and then part of the subdivision was Buck Shoals Lane would be the responsibility of the property owners in Buck Shoals subdivision. Well, by them doing that, it actually took the roadway away from us. We could pay for that roadway, so it's beneficial for us to have it back in our inventory. And it's beneficial for them because that's less they gotta maintain. We were maintaining it in the first place, we'll just continue to maintain it. So this is just a right-of-way dedication, gives us that right-of-way back.
Okay.
Makes it,
And then after that certain point,
then it's theirs.
it's theirs again.
It starts
And
again.
is that certain point, I'm trying to think of how far up is that? Is it right where the majority of the lots start?
No, lot 20B actually fronts along Buck Shoals Lane there. However, it'll have an extra 200 feet of road frontage. It's not taking away all the road frontage from lot 20B. It's right where their private driveways tee off. So there's two driveways and a barn that kind of Y off to the west. The 900 feet puts you just past that. That gravel, it's more or less a turnaround area.
Yeah, pretty well turn around.
Right, will you point it out on the map for me here? The Buck Shoals over here, the homes. With the stretches.
That's right there.
Yeah, not even
From there to down here.
to that point.
Yeah, to this corner, they dedicated from this corner to here. I didn't catch that, I was thinking it was here when I was looking for you in the subdivision, but we've always maintained, there's a turnaround right there, and we can turn around. We've always maintained that.
Their mailboxes are there, so the post office.
So this up here is already dedicated to us, we just had a gap.
No, this is part of the subdivision, the platted subdivision that they did. That, and then they dedicated Buck Shoals Lane as a public roadway, but it's not county maintained roadway.
Right.
Well, when they did that, they made the description all the way down here.
We actually
It should have stopped here. I didn't catch that. We've always maintained this. We have county maintenance from there to there.
And why do we want that?
We've maintained it. We get paid money, for the amount of mileage we have. We take miles away from us, we don't get paid for them, so. We've always maintained it. We've always kept it. It's beneficial for us because we've always been keeping it. We get paid to keep it, and then they can take, it's less they gotta take care of as well.
You have any issues with the? Is there any, is there a document to sign or anything, or it's just a,
I'm not sure what route we should take.
I would just take approval of the minutes is what I would think, wouldn't
Get
you?
approval of minutes and then we get it recorded.
I prepared the exhibit versus going through a full replat of the whole subdivision.
it's fine with me if you say it's legal to do it this way.
Yeah, we just need to make sure, again, it gets recorded, it's a public record, and that it's now ours. It's still ours.
All right, well, I'll move that we accept the right-of-way exhibit and description for Buck Shoals Lane.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Sandy, do you need a copy?
Corey, you should.
Thank
Did you ever
Mark.
see this, that I drew up for?
No,
When they were-
I did not know they would talk to you.
So originally on 115 is what you guys had wrote. So if you would reply it around the 60,
We can do 60.
that'd be cleaner for you
Awesome.
and for them too.
Yep, that'll be the next meeting.
The other thing on that then. here's the reason it goes back, here's what I know back here.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay, so our
that these guys ever did anything with that.
We're gonna.
next item is at 9:30, so we've got a few minutes for that.
I gotta make sure that, because they're gonna now instead of making that they're gonna make your house.
Okay, so Commissioner Oscar, we've been given a booklet of the DuBois County request to establish DuBois Superior Court 2. You recall recently we sent simply a letter of support along with the judges. This is a multi-year process, and they wanted to share with us a copy of what they turned into the state for their request for the, I believe the state study committee has to look at it one summer, and they can try to approve it the next legislative session. So they gave that to us. We wanted to review what they turned in and the rationale for that move, that need. We're gonna be doing a discussion on the Oprah help thing at 9:30 as well. So that's that. Any public comment about anything? We can take public comment now. We got 10 minutes. It's all good? All right, great. And Cindy, do you have anything else? Becky Guthrie isn't here even if we wanted to get ahead of schedule. I'll go ahead and do the health discussion. I was gonna do it after Becky Guthrie. But what I'll just say with that is we have a final list of people that will be attending a June 23rd event. It's a celebration or a kickoff of our participation in the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs Health Program, which stands for Hoosier Enduring Legacy Program. We're going to be working over the next couple of years with the city of Jasper on developing projects that are for the benefit of our communities. And part of that is the county and city hiring a community coordinator, and they will help guide the community through this process. And the reason we participated in that instead of just doing it off locally was there's a $1 million bonus that the Oprah will give you once you go through this process. So it's $1 million of extra money that will come to DuBois County for projects between DuBois County and the city of Jasper. So we're having a kickoff at the State House. I would assume it's a short ceremony where they say congratulations, no drive home. I would assume that's probably the.
You said an hour and a half or something like that?
Right, yeah. So they say networking, light refreshments on the second floor of the atrium of the State House, and then at 2 o'clock a ceremony, which will conclude by 3:30. So again, I think it's probably just ceremonial and getting it going. There are also Davies County and Knox County are also were awarded participation in this health thing. So they're going to be the cohort that we're involved in. So they will be there that same day, I believe. So we have 7 people from our community that are going up for that. Mark, if you want to go along for that too, I could probably ride along for that as well.
Let me get back to you on that, yeah.
Yeah, so we have to RSVP by June 9th. I did RSVP a list of 7 already, that being the county auditor, a city council member, the Region 15 Planning Commission Director, and commissioner representatives, so. Looking forward to getting that process going. And just for public knowledge, again, what the county had to do was we had to dedicate a certain part of our American Rescue Plan funds for this, and the city of Jasper did a portion of theirs, so we have a large bucket of money to implement whatever plan that this group comes up with, the community coordinator and the public and local officials, whatever plans they come up with for our community, we have funds to do that. So it's better than planning than having to go out and beg for money. We have funds available to implement things. So I hope we get public input and come up with a good plan. Another part of that process is the job description has been put together and a hiring process has begun for the community coordinator that Okra has as a requirement of getting in part of that program. And Okra will pay a portion of that person's salary for the first year. Mr. Oster, this may be a record. If Becky shows up at 9:30, we'll probably get out of here pretty quickly. Or if she doesn't, we'll get out even quicker. Right.
The next time it's getting to be a long meeting because it's budget review, so if you guys want to talk like a budget, it's gonna be a long meeting. I'm not done yet.
So Brooke sent our budget form, so we have to start putting that together. Do you have considered any of the things we give grants on, or any of that, anything with our budget?
I haven't really gone through it. I saw that I got the email and tagged it. But I haven't gone through it.
They're gonna be coming in next time. Also have the public hearing next meeting for the Okra.
Sure. So that Okra grant that we did with SERS in the amount of around $127,000 to have Wi-Fi hotspots put in various parts of the community and at SERS itself, and the lending library at SERS, and a accessible computer station for persons with disabilities. All of that is done and wrapped up. We've advertised for a public meeting. We have to do a closeout meeting, and that'll happen at the next commissioners meeting. Most of that project has went really well. SERS has been a great partner. Sandy's done a great job and her staff. And we're just waiting for, we have some finishing touches to do at the Bird's Eye location where their public Wi-Fi spot is. That's been kind of a drag, but the other ones, if you go to the county park, Holland Commons, Hayesville Park, or sit out front of SERS, all four of those locations are public, free, high-speed Wi-Fi for people if they need to use it for any purposes. the job classification, wage ranges, it says that are for budget year 2023, so these already have the additional percentage added to their range.
The one we just sent out, Sherman updated it all to the 3% recommendation. Council.
So seeing as I was looking through that Indian Office of Technology offerings, they sent me a deck today that shows all the things they offer. But I think what they would want us to do, if we were to go to them, is everything, our website would change. It wouldn't be DuBoisCountyIN.org, it would be DuBoisCounty.in.gov. I think is what that would be changed to. And all of our emails would change to whatever that is.
So they would host our emails then? We wouldn't host our own?
Well, that's a service that they have. They do emails, websites, security training, they do all of that. But from my initial understanding of it, that's what it looks like. If you want to use their free Note4 training, that only goes to website or to email addresses that have in.gov at the end of it. So we would have to be on board with that. I mean, I'd love to have it Note4 for free, but
That's a minor cost.
it's minor cost. But,
The emails cost us a lot more than that. Office 365.
mm-hmm. So, I don't know, it's something that I still want to keep looking into. I just didn't know if you were gonna say, oh, I'm changing that website or that, those email addresses. I didn't know if it was gonna be, I mean, it'll be a change because we have all of our staff that has contacts with people and they know the other email address would be a headache there, but could be something worth looking at. All right. Becky, you're here. Greetings.
Well,
Come on up.
I follow the striping truck all the way on the highway. And I know you don't pass, when they're striping the road, you don't ever go over the paint line. Because I did that once, because I didn't know why everybody was stopped. And I ended up with yellow paint all over the side of my car, and it doesn't come off very easily.
And it probably made the lane look a little funny too. When you tried.
So anyway, I was very patient, but then worried about the time, of course.
All those Teslas with lane assist.
Yeah,
Well, we're glad you're here.
thank you. Glad to be here.
Steve, how often does that happen? You paint a nice stripe and somebody just
Yeah,
right over. Does that happen sometimes?
yeah. I was in Perry County.
What do you do? What do you do? Do you
What do you
paint
do?
over it with black or something?
No.
No, it stays like
Wear
Well,
off eventually.
Yeah, I was down in Vital City when I did that. I went directly to the car wash thinking, well, I'll just wash that off. It doesn't come off. No. It was awful. So I learned my lesson there. Anyway, I'm here thanking you again for supporting us. Of course, the last couple of years has been very stressful with everybody and we just have kept going. We haven't stopped. Of course, during the height of the pandemic, we still kept running because they considered us essential services. And we still do all the Head Start transportation here in the county. And that just keeps increasing because the kids that go there don't have regular transportation. So we have 2 routes. They go there every day when they're in session. We have a lot of employment, of course, and we could use a lot more vehicles out there doing employment. But we're basically, what's happening is they're requiring their employees to stay overtime. And then that's past our service hours and we maybe do one way, get them there, but then they don't have a transportation back home. And it's just a challenge for everybody here in the county. We know it is, with getting workers there and providing the transportation that they need. more and more people are just not able to go. The city of Jasper had a vehicle there at the senior center, and they partnered with us during the day, and we dispatched rides to them, but their vehicle was getting older and needed to be replaced, and the city voted not to replace that. So they do not do the the senior transportation anymore. I think they still have the vehicle, and I think they used it for a camp recently that they transported kids for that in the evenings. But as far as the only good thing about that is we got to hire their driver. So we got another employee, but that still doesn't fill the gap, just like all the other places here in town. We still need employees. We're always trying to, put people together on the, multiple people. But there's so many people, just like dialysis and that we do, and certain appointments that sometimes we have to wait just a little bit because dialysis, there's something wrong. So there's all types of issues. We do a lot of wheelchair transportation, of course, which is very important to the residents in that county. So we are still struggling to just like everyone else is, but we're still here, and we've been here 20, 21, 22 years now, and it just continues to grow. So I'm just asking for another, $1,000 if it's possible, or at least keep our allocation, and let you know that I know that they were looking into more transportation here in the city. And I think they were looking for something more after hours and weekends and stuff, so I'm not sure where that went. But I think they got something going here in the city. I saw they were doing a transportation study, I know, and, but anyway, it hasn't affected anything that we're doing at all, so. Anyway.
Where were they at in the budget last year? I don't see them on our.
Did they move them from yours to my bill?
Well, I didn't see it. Page 8. So.
Yeah. Page 9 and 10.
Yeah, I looked here and I started here. So we've got CSRS, Older American Center Tri-County Museum, Disabled American Veterans, Countywide Transportation. Okay. Because I was concerned at first, but I was reading your letter, but then you spoke differently, because you said you would like to request an increase of 14,000.
Well, 214.
But you're really saying an increase of 1,000.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry, that was a little misleading, the way I worded that. Yeah, just 1,000.
Okay.
No, I would never do something like that to anybody.
This commitment helps the ever-increasing cost of operation,
Yeah.
increasing fuel, the need for important services evident, and just for the record again, if I wanted to ride from my home to somewhere within the city of Jasper, what's that cost me?
$2.
And if I want to come back,
$2.
if I schedule it together, is it still $4, or it's $2 each way anyway?
Right, right. And right now we have like additional stops, $1. Once you've ridden the bus, and then like you leave the doctor's office, and they have to go get a prescription or something like that, then we charge $1 for each stop after they're already on the board. If they're on the way back home, we don't take them out to see Molly or something, then come back and get them for $1. I mean, there's extra stops like that. Yeah, please correct that. I didn't even notice that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just,
Yeah.
no, I'm
increase
glad
it.
you
Of
clarified
what?
that in your talk.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's 2.
Yeah, increase 2. Yeah.
Mr. House, do you have any thoughts or questions for me?
I think it's a good thing you guys do.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to put the extra $1,000 in the budget for the next year, and we will pass it along to we'll put it as part of our budget. And
I
we'll see
think
what the
I'll
council
send
does.
you a new letter. I mean, or should I not correct that?
It's
To go to the council fund, it'd be fine.
Yep, for
Oh, okay.
yes, we know what you're actually
Okay,
requesting.
We'll put
so.
it in their budgets.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Is there any other business for the board? Any public comment? We'll ask again. All right, we will close the meeting.